Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Thursday. So a lot of news stories today. We had quite a few miners actually report their operational update. Bitdeer, Cypher, Cleanspark Riot. We're going to go through Cleanspark and Riot because they reported earlier on. I was able to get the data on them. Bitdeer and Cypher will go through tomorrow. And then we have Hive getting a new ATM. We'll talk about that. Terawulf selling Nautilus, their JV joint venture there. We'll talk about that. And I think that's it. That's all we got going on. We'll take a look at what's going on Bitcoin miners today as well, all that stuff, as you guys know. And you guys know the drill. Not financial advice, one time only. Do your own research. Full disclosure down below that. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button and subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And here is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is like battling with this 61,000 line here. It's just having a hard time staying above it for some reason. But the good sign is that I'm seeing here also is the 50 simple day moving average, which is this purple line right here, is battling with our 100 simple day line as well. We're getting close to where those two will cross eventually. And the last time we had this happen was actually going back last year. So if we go far enough back here on the chart, we can see here that back in like October 16th is when we started to rally here a little bit. But you can see here for a couple of days, the price of Bitcoin was battling or kind of hanging around the 50 simple day moving average, which is the purple line over here. And then eventually it broke through the 100 simple day moving average along with the 200 simple moving day average. And that's when we had our nice parabolic rise in Bitcoin going from basically, where were we at? 27,000, 26,000 all the way up to, right, to the point of, well, 73,000 before the halving event. And that's kind of what I'm expecting here as well. So I think we're close for liftoff on Bitcoin if this plays out the same way as it did last year on this, right? Because you can see it right here where we're just kind of hovering right above or right at the simple 50-day moving average. And then once that crosses, man, we are going to be going off to the races. So if it doesn't start happening like in the next couple of days, I would expect it by maybe the end of next week sometime for us to get that rally happening here, which would be really cool if it plays out the same way, right? But time will tell. We'll see what happens there. Miners were a little bit mixed today. Bitcoin was also up and down all over the place, but it did squeeze out a little bit of a green here at least. We were up 0.19% on Bitcoin. It closed at 60,744 and 99 cents. Miners were, like I said, mixed a little bit here. Any was just down a little bit here, 0.14. Argo was up 1 3/4. Digital was up 1.82. Bitdeer was up slightly, 0.22. Bitfarms was down 0.5%. Cypher was down almost 0.75%. Cleanspark was down 1.5% roughly. CORZ was up just slightly, 0.17. CORZ was actually doing a little bit better here earlier in the day. As you can see here on the chart, it was up to 12.41 and then came back down a little bit more. Digihost was down 0.9. DMGGF down about 0.5%. Hive was flat on the day. Hut 8 was down 2%. IREN was up just 0.5%. Marathon was up 1.7. Mawson was up 0.8. Riot was up almost 2.5%. Stronghold was down 1%, and Wolf was up 8% on the sale of the Nautilus facility there. We'll talk about that here in a second. So overall, mixed on the miners, a little bit green on the Bitcoin as well. But I'm expecting much better things to come for Bitcoin here in the next couple of days to a week possibly. I mean, you can see here right now. I mean, we're still battling with the 61,000 mark here, but I'm expecting. This is kind of what I'm expecting. If it, I don't know what. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys are seeing the same thing, if you're thinking the same thing or not. All right, so that's it on that. Let's take a look at what we got going on here so far in the month of October with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's down approximately 4.14% so far in October. Not too bad of a start. We're down on the right a little bit here, but I would expect it to end up much, much better going forward, especially towards the end of the month. As you can see here, historically, it has done very, very well with quite a few years where we've had really nice growth here, 40%, 28%, 27%, 47%, 33%, 60% even. So historically, this has been a really good month for Bitcoin, and I would expect the same thing to play out this year potentially. All right, so that's it on that. Let's take a look at the stories that we do have. We talked about Bitdeer, right? They reported. I don't have the updates for them yet, so we'll talk about that tomorrow. I will do a video tomorrow. Usually I don't, but I will because we have so many updates coming in here that I just want to stay on top of all these guys. Cypher also announced today. I didn't put their data in yet, so we'll talk about them tomorrow. But the stories that we do have here is going to be on Hive. So Hive Digital updates ATM equity program. The company at its sole discretion may sell up to 200 million of common shares under the updated at the market equity program, ATM. The company has the flexibility to terminate the equity distribution agreement prior to reaching the 200 million in gross proceeds. Any use of the proceeds will be aligned with the company's general corporate requirements, debt repayments, and potential future acquisitions. Any common shares issued by the company under the ATM program will be sold by the agents at the prevailing market prices at the time of sale. And Hive was, I believe, flat on the day as it was anyway, so it's not having a huge impact on them. Historically, they've been pretty good with their ATMs, and for the most part, it's been towards the advantage of growth and things like that. So I think this is going to be used for the same type of things as well. All right, so that's basically it for them on this. We're going to see this with other miners as well. We've seen it already, and it's just a continuation of things that are going to continue to happen here. The only way that this could possibly end for any of these companies is the companies that do hodl more so into the halving event, after the halving event, and then sell into the bull run. Those proceeds could possibly be used for growth and other things as well in the bear market again, if we have a repeat cycle like we have in the past. But time will tell, right? That works out that way. We have a couple companies that do have a sizable hodl position. We'll see if they actually end up using it. One that I would expect to use it more would be probably Cleanspark. They've done it in the past. We'll see if the others also do the same thing or not. All right, so that's it on Hive here. Next is Terawulf. So Terawulf monetizes equity interest in Nautilus joint venture to fuel expansion of HPC AI and Bitcoin mining at flagship Lake Mariner facility. I was a little surprised by this because their power rate at Nautilus is really good. It is a joint venture where they have 25% stake in it, so the revenue that they get from Bitcoin mining there does not get reported on the revenue side of things for the financials when they do report quarterly. So it does kind of skew things a little bit there. But here's what we got here. So Terawulf today announced it has completed the sale of its 25% equity interest in the Nautilus CryptoMine joint venture to its partners, a subsidiary of Talon Energy Corporation, in a transaction valued at approximately $92 million that will help fuel expansion of HPC AI and Bitcoin mining at the company's wholly owned Lake Mariner facility and position Terawulf for substantial value creation. Okay, well, we hope that's the case. Right, they've been talking a lot about HPC and what they're doing there, and there's a lot of hype around them getting possibly some sort of a contract with somebody. We just don't know yet what. So yes, we are hopeful on that, but I'm still skeptical a little bit on it. Let's see. Continuing on here, this transaction allows Terawulf to achieve 3.4x return on its investment in Nautilus. Footnote number 1, it talks about oh gosh, I can't remember now. Let's go down here. Footnotes are important. Excludes the undepreciated value of Wolf's Nautilus miners. Okay, so that doesn't account for that. Okay, the $92 million in consideration consists of $85 million in cash and approximately 30,000 Talon contributed miners and related equipment valued at around $7 million. Okay, so it's $85 million for the. Let's see, consists of $85 million in cash. Okay, so $85 million is going to be in cash, and then the rest is going to be basically in 30,000 miners. We don't know what those are. Valued at around $7 million. Terawulf intends to reinvest this capital into the construction of the 20 megawatt CB1 facility at Lake Mariner, which is designed for hosting HPC AI data centers. Okay, so that's good there, meaning they're going to dilute less to do that. In addition to the CB1 facility, Terawulf aims to complete the construction of the mining building 5 MB5 and maintains its operational target of over 13 exahash by Q1 2025. So is that by the end of Q1 or by Q1, meaning it's going to get done here in Q4. Kind of vague here a little bit, or a little tough to figure out. The company also plans to enhance the efficiency of its mining fleet to achieve 18.2 joules per terahash. That would be great also there. And then this transaction underscores Terawulf's dedication to operational efficiency, cost management, and long-term shareholder value, while also demonstrating proactive risk management by monetizing its interest ahead of the expiration of the 2 cents per kilowatt power contract and ground lease in June 2027. Right, that's why I was a little bit surprised that they have still basically 2 more years that they could have been mining here. More than that, actually, like 2.5 years at this rate, at very low power cost there. So this was definitely a surprise. Terawulf strategically positions itself to redeploy resources to its Lake Mariner facility in New York, where it enjoys superior cost efficiency. Not sure about, I don't know how they're calculating that, but having 2 cents per kilowatt hour pricing on electricity, I think they're a little bit higher at the Lake Mariner facility. Efficiency and lower expected future power prices. Furthermore, the sale of Terawulf's minority interest in Nautilus will streamline its consolidated financial statements, enhancing transparency and comparability for shareholders. Yeah, I'm sure Patrick there was getting tired about answering that, how that all works. So that is going to streamline things, make it more easier, right? Because when they report the BTC mined, it was for the joint venture combined, and then they reported just for the self-mining as well. And that was kind of, they're not the only ones that do this. There's other companies that do this as well. I believe, who else is the other one? I think Cypher is another one that does it as well. And there might be another one. I'm just drawing a blank right now. And who, Marathon's another one that does it as well. So it does get a little bit confusing sometimes, but it is what it is. And then Terawulf recently completed a 2 megawatt AI HPC proof of concept project designed to support both current and next generation GPU technology. Additionally, the company is constructing the 20 megawatt co-location building CB1 at Lake Mariner, engineered to handle critical IT load of 16 megawatt with advanced liquid cooling and tier 3 redundancy features. So yeah, this is like a regular data center. But surprisingly, we're not hearing much as far as their proof of concept project. How did that work out? Did they get any customers for that or anything like that? That would be interesting to know there. And then reinvesting the proceeds from this transaction keeps CB1 on track to be operational in Q1 2025. The next building, CB2, has a planned gross capacity of 50 megawatts and is targeted for completion in Q2 of 2025. So that CB2 is for their HPCI side of things. So yeah, this is pretty interesting that they were able to get that. Based on this data, they got basically 92 million for, I can't remember how many megawatts were there at the site. We could probably look that up and figure that out, how much they got per megawatt. But definitely interesting side of things here. And it does position them maybe better for the HPC going forward. And then with them being still on track to get 13 exahash, I think that would be good here. Let's see if I have them to get to 13 exahash with all the numbers that I have on them. Right now, I'm getting to 10, so they're going to have to, and I think this includes also their portion of the JVs here, if I'm not mistaken here for Terawulf. Okay, so that's down there. Let's take a quick look down here where I was getting the data from. Okay, what is that? Optional. Okay, so they still have optional S21s about 6 exahash there that they could possibly pull on. And yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if they get a portion of that or if they're still planning to get to 13. But they would have to definitely pull on that. But then them getting the money from the sale of the joint venture, they could do this as well. Okay, so that is a possibility there. All right, so that's it. Let me know what you guys think of that story. Like I said, I thought it was interesting that they sold this with having like 2.5 years left to go on the contract, surprisingly. But we'll see how they do going forward with this. All right, so that's it on that one. Let's get into our updates here for September. First one's going to be Cleanspark. So Cleanspark releases September 24 Bitcoin mining update. During the past year, we grew our hash rate from 9.6 exahash to 27.6 exahash, or 187% growth, with 5 exahash coming online just during the month of September. Yeah, it was a great month for them on this. It would have been even better if we didn't have Hurricane Helen impacting their sites a little bit as well. And then continuing on here, our expansion efforts have not slowed down, and we are actively racking miners and newly acquired sites and at our existing facilities as part of our fleet upgrade plan. Through these efforts, we expect to reach 30 exahash during October, so this month. So that's good. Looking ahead to fiscal year 2025, we are positioned to rapidly achieve our forecasted growth to 50 exahash and beyond. We look forward to providing further updates on 2025 in the coming weeks. So at the end of September, this is the end of their fiscal year, basically ends in September. Third quarter is when it ends. So it's going to take a little while for them to report their fiscal year end numbers for us. So I'm guessing it'll be probably closer to November that we'll see that stuff, if not like middle of November maybe for them. Whereas the other miners might provide the data a little bit faster because end of year figures also have to be audited, and it always takes a little bit longer. Okay. But September Bitcoin mining update here, 483 Bitcoin, that's good. Calendar year 2024, Bitcoin mined 5,079. Total Bitcoin holdings as of September 30th was 8,049. They've had huge growth in their Bitcoin hot over the last year. They've added approximately, 6,000 Bitcoin this past year or something. Let's see. Deployed fleet, 188,000 roughly. Fleet efficiency, 21.94 joules per terahash. And monthly operating hash rate, 27.6. Okay. Peak hash rate reached 27.6 exahash. Hurricane Helen impacted the company's operations at the end of September, leading to an average hash rate of 23.4 for the month, resulting in an average of 16.43 Bitcoin mined daily and a single day high of 19.52. That's pretty good there. Additional updates here about Hurricane Helen. You got Dalton, Georgia, Sandersville. There's something in here. Okay. The company anticipates the completion of the acquisition of Grid Infrastructure, Inc. will occur before month's end, so this month. So that's good. And they'll get those assets there. And then Messina, New York, the company made the strategic decision on October 1st, so this week, not to renew its hosting agreement with CoinMint. The company currently intends to focus all future efforts on its portfolio of wholly owned and operated sites. The agreement with CoinMint is now set to expire on January 1st, 2025. So I think that's actually pretty good news there as well. Okay, so that is it. Let's take a look at my numbers here for them. They had a pretty good month here overall, considering without the hurricane would have been a lot better, but it is what it is. So currently, Cleanspark has 248 million shares outstanding, market cap at 2.1 billion. Their performance over the last 12 weeks has been kind of mixed. They're down 36% from 12 weeks ago, down 11% from 8 weeks ago. They were up now 25% from 4 weeks ago, and last week they were up 12.68%. So it is starting to turn around here a little bit for them. All right, current hash rate 27 exahash, 27.6. Future hash rate is supposed to be 50. I'm at 55 because I'm also including some of the older machines that they still have there. I need to probably update this, get rid of the 5 extra exahash there. That's going to be replaced. And so they do have a lot of growth here going forward. They currently have 8,049 BTC. That's valued at 485 million right now, so $500 million as it is. That's fantastic. BTC production here has continued to kind of go back up here, which is good as they install more hash rate and everything else. And then monthly revenue here, 29.76 million. It's been kind of flat, but we've seen this with some other miners as well, where it's been flat over the last couple of months based on just where Bitcoin is in general on it. BTC HODL, look at this huge HODL increase here from last year, September of 23. They had 2,000 Bitcoin. They're at 8,000 Bitcoin right now, so almost 6,000 Bitcoin being added, 5,800, something like that. But that is a huge increase in their HODL position here. Hash rate growth as well. You can see they were kind of flat here last year from October through January. And then we saw huge growth happening probably like in February, March, and then it just continued to ramp up here. And so far, September has been their best month. Well, actually not really. February, they installed almost 6 exahash here. In September, they installed another 5 exahash here as well. So they've been doing a great job of getting everything done and installed and hashing. One of my fears in the beginning of the year was their growth targets to get to 30 exahash or 32 exahashes. Like, they didn't have the infrastructure, the buildings to put the things in. It's like, okay, they're going to have to go out and buy a lot of stuff. Will they be able to do that in time? And yeah, it looks like they have been able to do that, and they've operated very, very well here. Bitcoin sold, you can see here that they've been selling practically nothing here in the last, basically, well, since the beginning of the year. They've been hodling everything as much as they can. Going down here to BTC per exahash efficiency, they got hit with efficiencies here because of Hurricane Helen, so they're at 17.9 here. On it, Bitcoin sold value, how much they've been selling. We've talked about that prior as well. Okay, institutions and analyst ratings. The app that I use, Webull, their data is off right now. It's like way wrong for them and for Riot also. When I looked at the number of institutions, we saw it said a decrease of 300 some odd institutions, and like the shares went down to like 20 million or something like that. It's like 5 million. And I saw this happened either last month or month prior, where we saw the data was just off for whatever reason, and they got fixed in a couple of days. So I'm expecting the same thing to happen there, but so we don't have any updated data. Once we do have the updated data, I will let you guys know, and we'll cover this. But going down here, we can see that the miners, we added some miners for them, and we added these miners over here. The 200 terahash, we added about, what did we add? 25,000 of these guys, 5 exahash here, being added to it as well. And they were operating roughly 25.37 days out of the month here to get to our 29.756 million, which corresponds with our Bitcoin price average for the month, along with what they mined, times that, and we get 29.765 on it. And as you guys can see here, I've been pretty close on the numbers historically, so I'm guessing they're going to be somewhere around there. So for the full quarter, we're looking at about 89 million here in revenue compared to where we were prior. And that is just a result of the halving event, right? So we're down about, what is that going to be? 20 million, something like that, 22 million from the peak here in March. This was before the halving event. So now we have a full quarter of the halving event. They're down 89. So really good job by them. Otherwise, it would have been half of that. They would have been down like 50 some odd million. Also depends on where Bitcoin price is going at. So but right now we're looking at, for the full year, they're going to be at approximately, what does that come out to be? 378 million in revenue here for the full year. That's really, really good. We'll see what their profit margins are like and everything else once they do report. And then going up here, are they currently undervalued based on my numbers? Yeah, they're still undervalued. Based on the last 3 quarters of current quarter that we're just finishing up here, I'm in between 15.28 and 22.92. They're at 8.66. They should be easily a double from where they are right now on this, but they're not. Even if we use the numbers for September, the revenue times 12 months, if things stay the same, they should be between 14.39 and 21.59. They're undervalued from where they are, where they should be, really, in my opinion, at least. Okay, so that's it on Cleanspark. Let's get into Riot, and then we'll get into your Q&A side of things as well. Okay, so that's that one. Let's get into Riot. Riot has seen some improvements here, which is nice to see, but they're still not close to the, I don't know if it was promised, but it was just the expectation that they would be around 95% uptime. But we're getting closer, which is good. So Riot announced September 2024 production operations updates, and here's what we have on it. So Bitcoin produced was 412. That is a nice increase from the 322 that they had the month prior. Average Bitcoin produced per day was 13.7 compared to 10.4. That's also great there. Bitcoin held increased also to 10,427 from where they were at 10,019. And then here we're going to do some comparisons here. So average, let me see here. Deployed hash rate, Rockdale, Corsicana, right? Those are the ones that we were interested in the most. So at Rockdale, they're at 15 exahash right now, but they were operating at only 9.7. That comes out to be like 64, 65% uptime right now on those numbers. They did increase a little bit here from where they were the prior months, right? You can see that. But I was hoping for some better updates, but I watched the interview with Jason from Bryson McNally. They had a great interview there. Anthony did a great job of asking him some tough questions, which I appreciate. And Jason did provide some numbers there, some insight into it as well. He did say that they are working to improve the operational uptime, with basically September being the last month of the 4CP program. The 4CP program, if you don't know what that is, that's basically where they are, I wouldn't say, what's the word I'm looking for here? They're incentivized to curtail at times at peak demand, basically, at those times in order to have lower costs into the next year, right? So you want to kind of do that. So he said once that ends, October should be much better, but they don't expect to be near their full potential at that point anyways, because they're still working through some, not really issues, but they're just doing some operational upgrades and things like that where they're going to get more efficiencies and things like that. So we'll see. All right, so total deployed hash rate was 28.2, and their average operational hash rate was 19.5, so that came in at about like 72%, not 72. On average came in at 69, whereas Corsicana was operational at like 72, I think. Yeah, 72. Rockdale was at 65% roughly. So combined, they were at like 69% operational uptime. So that's still quite a ways off from the 95%. Okay. Also, total power credits, they got 2.2, which is a sizable decrease from what they had last month and even from what they saw last year. Last year was really beneficial to them there. But yeah, so even if they were able to operate, I did the numbers on this. If they were able to operate at 95% uptime, they would have generated like 32 million instead of the almost 24 million, I think, there on it. So there's still room for a lot of improvement where they could generate more revenue because of it. Now, all-in power costs coming at 3.5 cents compared to 2.6, right? So that's still really good price though at this point. Going down here, we can see their site, and it is a very nice site. I will add that. Very well done, very well designed. And it's just a massive site right now. So, right, and they still have a lot of potential there to go forward as it is. Let me see if there was anything else. I think there was. There it is. Okay, Corsicana updates. Bright is currently developing phase 1, 400 megawatts of the company's Corsicana facility, which, once fully deployed, is expected to total 1 gigawatt, 1,000 megawatts in developed mining capacity. Bright completed the development of the third 100 megawatt building B1 in September, bringing power capacity at the Corsicana facility to 300 megawatts. Development continues on the final 100 megawatt building of phase 1, building B2, which is expected to be completed and fully operational in November. So that's good there. And then during the first 2 days of October, the Corsicana facility was powered down for planned maintenance on its substation. This maintenance was completed on October 2nd, and the facility has now resumed normal operations. I'm a little surprised that they would have to do planned maintenance this quickly. I mean, this site is just brand new this year already. be interesting to know what the planned maintenance is on those substations. Is it quarterly? Is it biannually? Is it annually? But yeah, we'd be interested to know on how many times they have to shut down to do maintenance on that, or planned maintenance at least. And then here's their estimated hash rate growth. Right. In the interview with with Bryce and Anthony, Jason did state that they are working on their 2025 plan, and they will provide some data or information on that when it does happen. The other interesting part on it was Anthony asked him about the HPCI play, and he did state that if by chance they were able to get a deal like similar to what CoreWeave got with, or Core Scientific got with CoreWeave, that they would be open to something like that. So it's not that they are completely against HPCI, it's just they are skeptical, kind of like I am, on how much, or at least, not maybe how much, but can another miner get that type of a deal from somebody, right? So time will tell on that. So that's actually kind of good there, but they're mostly focusing on Bitcoin mining as it is right now. So if you haven't checked out the interview with Bryce and Anthony, with Jason, definitely check that out when you do have a chance. Really good. What else do we have here? I think that is it. Yep. So let's take a look at the numbers that we have here for them on my spreadsheet, and we'll get into your guys' Q&A as well. So right now, Riot Platform says 303 million shares outstanding, market cap 2.2 billion. Stock price is at $7.43 as of today. Their performance kind of similar to Cleanspark, hasn't been that great over the last 12 weeks. They're down 18% from 12 weeks ago, down only 2.7% from 8 weeks ago, but from 4 weeks ago, they're up 22%, and last week they're up 9%. Okay, current hash rate 28.2. Future hash rate is supposed to be around, I think they said 36 exahash by the end of the year, but they have enough to get to like 41 or something like that. So that should be coming in probably like Q1, I'm guessing, of next year. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, Bitcoin HODL, 10,427. That's valued at 629 million right now. Okay, and you can see their growth here over the last year. They increased that by approximately 3,000 BTC. So you can see that Cleanspark has been stacking a heck of a lot more than they have over the last year. Bitcoin production here has been kind of all over the place. We have a new recent high, at least 412, which is good. They increased that by 90 over the last month. So that is good. They're at least heading in the right direction. But we still want to see, at least I want to see much better uptimes going forward. Revenue has been kind of all over the place as well. Let's see here. They bottomed out here, looks like in May. Actually, September last year was lower. But recently it was May at 14 million, and then they went up to 23 million in July, down to 19 in August, and now back up to 24.87 million, not including the power credits there. And then hash rate difference, you can see that they installed also like 4.7 exahash here, which was their second best month. Prior to that was June, when they installed 7.2 roughly of exahash as well. And then Bitcoin sold here, you can see they've been selling a lot less this year as well. On those numbers, BTC per exahash efficiency still pretty low, 14.61, because of all the curtailing that they do. And then Bitcoin sold value, you can see that as well. And like I talked about with Riot, with Cleanspark, right? I don't have the latest data on institutions and analyst ratings, so I'm going to hold off on that until I do have the correct data for it. With them, for them operating, here's what we installed and what they were operating at. I did install these 230, 250, and 280 terahash miners for them. Getting them to the 28.2 exahash here as well. And those were operating for about 20 days, I'm guessing, on average. Probably should have been lower maybe, because the overall farm was operating at like 19.9 days on average to get to the numbers that I needed to get to 24.867 million. Right? Last month they were operating at about 18 days. So they are slightly improving. And then you can see here that in July they were actually operating at a little bit better operational uptime. They were at 20.79 days at that point, maybe. So it is interesting, roughly. Those are rough estimates, right? They're not going to be 100% accurate, but that gets us a ballpark of where they were at least on it. But that is it on it. And then let's take a look at the numbers that I have for them as far as stock price. Where should they really be? And they should be higher, based on what I'm seeing here a little bit now. It should be a little bit higher at least. So based on the last 3 quarters, oops. Why did I do that? Let's see here. Based on the last 3 quarters and the current quarter that we just finished, I'm between 850 to 1274. And the reason for this is because their operational uptime has been quite paltry. So we need to see that increase. If that increases, then that should increase their potential going forward as well. And then if I have them at, for September numbers times 12, I'm between 983 to 1475. So that is actually an improvement there, right? So that's actually good to see there. So I do think they're slightly undervalued right now. They could go up another what would that be, 50% or something like that before they get fairly valued roughly. Somewhere between these two figures here, especially if Bitcoin starts going up higher, they're going to be valued at the higher point as well. All right. So that's it on Riot. Big thing for them is they got to really improve their operational uptime. So we'll see. It looks like they're tracking in the right direction, and hopefully that continues. But we really need to see, especially October, November, December, all those colder months where their operational uptime needs to be a lot higher. But yep, that is it on Riot. Let's get into the Q&A side of things. And as always, you guys know spreadsheets are available to my Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description of the video that I do, and it's $8 a month. You might be able to find a couple of spots that are $4 or $5, but that's my sales pitch there. And let's get into the Q&A side of things, and we'll call it a day. Okay, let's see here. Get that. Go back here, and let me catch up to some of the comments that you guys have here in questions, and then it always is a little bit delayed, like 15-second delay, and then I will get to all your guys' questions. Just be patient. Okay. Let's see. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, saw that. Okay, what do you know of CORZ AI clients and its profitability? Well, CORZ has CoreWeave. That's their main customer there right now. That profitability is going to, in the first couple of years, is going to be less because they're going to be paying back CoreWeave the amount that they basically give them to retrofit the facilities. So we're looking at, I think, what was like 50-some% profit margin, I think at that point, 40-50% profit margin. And then after that gets paid off, that profit margin goes up to closer to 70-80%, I believe. I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but somewhere around there. So it should be much better going forward. Okay, let's see here. Right update was kind of concerning to me, to say the least. Power credits decreased 66% month over month, 2.2 million. All in power costs increased 35%, 3.5 cents. Yeah, I mean, they're doing some good things, and that's why I say they got to get the operational uptime at a higher percentage than what it is right now. That will fix a lot of their issues, I think, and I'm not exactly sure why they can't get it up to. I know that they were doing the 4CP program during the summer months, so that kind of makes sense. Okay, they had to curtail at certain times because of power costs and things like that. Okay, but the rest of the year, we really need to see. If we don't see much better operational uptime, yeah, it's not going to be good. Okay. Let's see here. Hive Cleanspark fleet efficiency went down to 21.94 joules per terahash compared to 22.7 last month. Sounds great, but some other miners do much better. Thoughts on why so? Cleanspark was buying miners back in 2021, 2022, right? The 100 terahash, 140 terahash miners. And then some miners were getting miners until like within the last year and a half or something like that. So they have a little bit better efficiency on those things. And Cleanspark has been upgrading all of their machines here, not all of them, but a majority of them as well, to the newer, more efficient machines as well. But they have a lot of machines. That's probably the main reason why. Okay. When is the earliest Cleanspark can announce whether or not their ATM expansion was successful, voted on, or when does the voting end? I would imagine it's successful. The stock will drop on that news. I think it's being priced in already on that side of things. And I think their voting is it the 20th of this month? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was like the 20th. Okay. Ryan says, spike the likes, y'all. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Could HUT be a better acquisition target for Riot? Not really. I don't think so. And the reason I say that is HUT has a lot of HODL right now as well. But they're also managed services, hosting. I don't think Riot wants to get into that kind of stuff. Okay. Hi, Seb. What's your opinion on the size of the CB2 project for Wolf? 50 megawatts sounds small. Seems they are being valued quite high for that small of a HPC AI part of their business. Yeah. I do think it is. I mean, it's a project, right? It's not really a project. It's a little bit bigger. It's not the size of what Core is basically giving CoreWeave, several hundred megawatts, but it is still quite sizable, I think. And I think the stock is being valued more so on the potential of a big deal with somebody, or maybe somebody even buying them out completely for their site there to turn it over into complete HPCI maybe, right? I think they got a couple hundred megawatts there as well. Okay. Let's see. Is it good news or bad news for Wolf? I think it's neutral, but I think it's also good because that way they don't have to dilute as much possibly for the shareholders. So that way it would be good, especially as they're building out their HPC stuff and increasing their hash rate a little bit more this year as well. Hi Seb, what do you like more between Cypher, BitDigital, and Wolf? Thanks. What do you like more? Cypher, I think, has more potential going forward with their self-mining, right? But a lot of it's not going to be until sometime next year, probably like the middle of next year, somewhere around there, before their sites get built out and everything else. But they do have quite a bit of potential there. So I kind of like that more so. BitDigital is more becoming like an IT provider of sorts for HPCI, it seems like. And it seems like they want to get out of Bitcoin mining in general anyways. So I'm not sure on that one. It's the way I look at it is with HPCI, if you become something like that, like an IT partner for somebody like that, for customers, then you're going to be relying on customers in order for your revenues to increase, and then the stock's going to go kind of maybe sideways for a while, right, until you get more customers. So you're always going to be striving to get more customers that way. How many customers are there to get? That we don't know. But it is more profitable than Bitcoin mining right now for them. And I can see why they're doing it, right? Bitcoin mining is a challenging business. Wolf, I like that they have the site where they have it, where they have access to nuclear, plenty of water to go as well if they need to get water from, I think it's a lake yeah, it's one of the lakes there, I think, or the river, wherever that is. They have plenty of access to that, so that's good for like a tier 3 data center if you need a lot of water for cooling and things like that. So these guys all have different benefits and things that you could like about them, but it's not the reasons why I would get into them. At least personally, I'm getting into the miners that are growing tremendously, because I know in the next, or at least I think it's going to happen in the next 12 months, things are going to go parabolic with Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. So that's the reason why I want to get into the miners that are actually growing tremendously. LTD says Riot's going to have a great Q4 is what I'm seeing. Yeah, if they continue to improve their operational uptime, things will get better. The revenues will increase. All that stuff will be in play. Question, hi Seb. I'm thinking of selling a small amount of my BTC on profit to DCA on CleanSpark, but afraid dilution hit them then hard. What are your thoughts on financial? Of course, thank you. I own Bitcoin too. I haven't sold any Bitcoin in, 5 years, 6 years now, since 2017, whatever it's been. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if we think of the miners as a proxy play to Bitcoin, where they could outperform Bitcoin as far as multiples go, then maybe, yes, that might make sense. Has the full debt, people are panicking on the 300 million that they're looking to get additionally, right? But they're also thinking that they're going to dilute the 300 million right away, which is false. And that's not going to happen for at least, I'm guessing, 5 to 7 years before that all 300 million gets used up. So I don't know. I'm thinking it's already priced into the stock, but I could be wrong on it. When the news comes out that they got the additional 300 million, the stock may dump. That's just one of the things. So dollar cost averaging, maybe, if you're looking to do it that way. Has CleanSpark and IREN bottomed? Let's look at the charts, see what we got on the charts on those two guys here really quick, and we'll see what we got. So CleanSpark, I think they have bottomed out, but we'll see. I keep talking about this Fibonacci retracement here at 0.236 on it. It looks like they've held that at least once. Looks like they're holding it again here. So maybe they have bottomed out on it. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We have a pretty sizable gap here between this. I wonder what was the case on that. Was that when they reported they are going to be increasing the number of shares, I think? Is that the case there? I can't remember what that was, whether that was such a huge drop here. So we might, just one of these days, when Bitcoin starts going up a little bit, we might just get a rocket ship back up to the $13, $15 range possibly. But it looks like they might have bottomed out here. Going to, where's IREN? IREN, 784. Have they bottomed out? Possibly as well. Same thing. They came down to 2.36, right? They actually went down below it a little bit, but they bounced off of it. So I am thinking that one has kind of bottomed out here, and recently it has been bouncing off of the simple 200-day moving average here, it looks like. So maybe that is the bottom for that one, possibly. But only time will tell, right? If Bitcoin goes up, I think this would be the bottom for him. But just when will Bitcoin start going up? Is it going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be next week sometime? Nobody knows on that part of it, things. So we'll see. Okay, covered that. What else we got here? Okay. Question: why is Bitfarms selling so much of its mined BTC every month at these prices, considering where we are in the cycle? Well, the stock is kind of low, right? And it's in the $2 range, so it doesn't really make sense to pull too hard on the ATM there. And with them selling Bitcoin, they're able to fund their operations and grow it that way without diluting as much, right? Ideally, you want to dilute when the prices of the stock higher, but you're probably still diluting some just to make ends meet right now. Okay, let's see. Cleanspark meeting is October 25th. Okay, so I was off by 5 days. I was thinking 20th. All right, so thank you for that. Let's see your LTD. Thank you so much for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Let's see. Thoughts on setting up a small miner at home as a version of DCA? With your mining history, thought you may have valuable insight. Yes. You're going to be at a much higher rate for electricity at home, probably around 10, 11, 12 cents per kilowatt hour. That is going to be tough. For you to break even on one of these miners, depending on which ones you get, I mean, you're looking to maybe break even in 2 years, depending where Bitcoin goes at that point. So I think it's better to invest the money that you would in a miner into these stocks, especially in the next 12 months at least. After that, once you make plenty of profits, you can play around with it and see how it goes. But I did it, and it's tough. It is really tough, especially depending on the price you pay, where the hash rate growth is, where Bitcoin goes. You might be, unless you have really good costs. At 10 cents, 12 cents, it's going to be really tough. Okay, let's see. What is Riot's efficiency in joules per terahash? Is it lower than Mara's? That I don't know. That's something that Jason was also asked by Anthony in the interview. He said that they will provide that in their quarterly financials, I guess. So we get those quarterly from them. Okay, let's see here. Hi Seb, what is going to happen to the miners if Bitcoin fails to make new high this cycle? Well, it already made new highs this cycle. It was before the halving event. So I would expect it to happen again after the halving event. But if it doesn't happen, the miners are going to trade sideways, flat, or down, actually. And we may be in like an extended cycle. What if the cycle is, instead of being like 12 to 18 months, it becomes 24 to 36 months. And the price just goes up slower over time. It is a new era that we're in right now with Bitcoin because of the adoption with the institutions and ETFs and all that stuff. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. This is going to be telling. The next 3 months is going to be a tell sign, I think, what's going to happen going forward with it. If we don't get close to like 90, 100,000 in Bitcoin by the end of this 3 months, then it's going to be a different cycle, I think. Okay, covered that. Let's see. Okay, what is the joules per terahash rate on Mara? All other miners list their efficiency, but I can't find one for Mara. Riot doesn't also list it. Mara, I think they used to list it. I mean, I have a estimated number what it could be. I just don't know exactly which miners they have in place and everything else. What do I have for them? Let me see here. Marathon, going down here. Let's take a look. Right, this is just a best guess estimate where they could be with the miners that they have installed. And I'm not even sure on these Dime machines. I'm just guessing on these guys here as far as what they could be. Joules per terahash and all that stuff. So going back all the way down here, I am at possibly 20.3 joules per terahash right now. Possibly, roughly. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm at right now. Okay. Go back here. Gary says, I think Mara and Riot are right around 25, but not sure. They're probably a little bit lower than that. Question, are you still adding Bitfarms? Last time I bought was probably, 2 weeks ago now? No, I bought last week. Thursday, I think I bought. So I have been buying recently. I haven't buying this week. Still trying to see if I can do a couple of things here. We got a couple of plans for next year for vacation time, and also my wife wants to go to Disney World this year, so I want to see if I can do that and still buy some, or if we're going to have to maybe put the Disney World vacation on hold until possibly maybe next year when things look a little bit better with the market and everything else, and I can pull money out at that point, but we'll see. Can you envision BitDeer moving to mostly HPC company versus mining? They seem to have a lot of power in the pipeline. They do have a lot of power, but all that power is supposed to be for their Bitcoin mining, right? They have the seal miners there, and they have a roadmap to continue to build out and expand that as well. So I don't know. I would guess not. Okay. Denmark Uber says, Seb, that's the Cleanspark gap in yen carry trade back on Monday. Okay. All right, that's what it was. Thank you. Man, my memory's not that great. I've got too many things in my mind on these miners. Let's see. Same question as before, Seb. If you could only buy one miner, which one would it be? For me, it would still probably be, right now, probably Cleanspark. Given everything that we know what's going on with Bitfarms, I mean, I like all of three of them, right? Cleanspark, IREN, and Bitfarms. There's some benefits to what Cleanspark's doing with the HODL, where IREN doesn't have the HODL, but then IREN has the HPC play I keep talking about, possibly. So it's tough. Right now, I would say Cleanspark. Okay, let's see here. Market's creating short sentiments and will pump and wash the shorters in coming weeks. Thoughts? Possibly, yeah. I mean, when Bitcoin starts going up much higher, yeah, the shorts are gonna capitulate and they're gonna be buying back in and all that stuff. So yeah, that is part of the cycle, I guess you could say. All right, what else do we have here? I think that's it. I think I caught up to all you guys' questions here. All right. Let's see. Got something coming in here from Andre. Let's see. Andre says, will IREN release their September production on Friday or next week? And do you think they will be over 300 BTC for the month? Good question. I think they will report tomorrow. They're usually pretty early to report. I'm surprised they haven't reported already yet. So will they be at 300 BTC? Let's see. Where do we have IREN right now? Based on the same numbers here that they had, this is IREN reporting. That would be roughly 23 million in revenue for them, right? No, I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to do my calculator. So 23 million, roughly, what is it? 23 million, 300 roughly. We're just estimating here on it. If it stays the same thing like they did last month, let's see here. Where's it at? Calculator. 23,350,000 divided by 62,000 BTC price on average. That would actually get them to, like, if I did this right, yeah, 376 BTC. Would that be correct to think that? Where were they? 245? That would be a sizable jump for them. They've also grew quite tremendously in the last couple of months. August, they grew 5.5 exahash. September, potentially 4, maybe more than that even by the end of the month here for exahash. So that's 9.5 exahash growth. In August, we had them at, what was it? The new miners being installed for only roughly like 5 days or so. Yeah, when they reported they were installed, so I give them 5 days at that point. So if those are operational now for a full or a month, excuse me, and the other miners operating at average around 20 days, then we're looking at around, 376 BTC possibly, somewhere around there. So it should be a really, really good month for them. But surprisingly, the stock has not really picked up on that yet. But it's because we are in this kind of funk right now with the miners, I guess you'd say, with Bitcoin and everything else. But that's why I own IREN as well. Let's see what else do we have here. That was from Andre. I see one from, let's see here. Okay, many on X Twitter are calling for 5x in Cypher by March 2025. Do you have growth? Do they have growth to justify that? On Cypher, they do have some growth this year. Most of their growth is going to be into next year. So for this year, I have them getting to, where am I getting to? Hold on, let me pull this up. So I have Cypher getting to potentially 13.5 exahash this year. I see if I have the schedules written down when those things are supposed to come in. I deliver Q4 2024, so that's going to be another 1.3 exahash roughly or so. We got about 8 exahash coming in here as well. When is that? Or is that a potential there? What are we at right now? We're at 10 exahash now, 9 on that. Yeah, I think these are a possibility. I think these are the ones that they might get portion of as well. WQ4, I think so. So that's kind of where that would be on that. So yeah, 13 exahash this year. So could they get a 5x out of it? Well, if Bitcoin goes up 2x, well, I don't think Bitcoin's going to go up 2x roughly. That would put it at 120,000. But maybe if it goes up goes up, let's just say 60% up or something like that. Could it get 5x? Maybe, depending on if it gets a good deal with like HPC customer or something like that they're working on. They have some communication with some customers there potentially. That might do it, but otherwise I would say somewhere between 3 to 5x would be possible, somewhere around there. Okay, there's that. Okay, and I think that is the last one that we have here as far as questions go. So yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Typically we don't do, or typically I don't do a live stream on Fridays because everybody's out partying and celebrating the week being over with. But we'll cover it tomorrow. BitDeer, who else was there? Cypher as well reported as well today. So we'll get into those guys, and then we'll see if anybody else reports as well. If we get IREN or something like that, we'll include that in there. So tomorrow will be a Friday special, I guess. All right. That's it. We've almost made it through the end of the week. I greatly appreciate you guys coming in here as always. Thank you so much for taking the time with me. Love you all. Hope you guys have a great Friday tomorrow. Be safe out there. Don't do anything stupid. Live to see the weekend, okay? I'll see you guys tomorrow.